He really, really did it. General MKHWANAZI, he really went to the Madlanga Commission. Wait, the Madlanga Commission actually started. He literally gave in. He submitted his affidavit, which was all just a press release briefing all along. Okay, the people came out of the woodworks, they came out of everywhere, every corner to tell us that he is a Gulagoto, he's a criminal, he didn't declare Louis Vuitton bags. Everyone with something to say, okay, about MKHWANAZI all came out just to turn the attention from what he actually disclosed at that press briefing. But you know what? It wasn't his first time saying it. It's just presentation matters. If there's anything you can take away from all this, presentation absolutely does matter. Hello, Mzansi. Welcome back to another video as we go over what exactly happened yesterday inside Phakathi within the Madlanga Commission. The lighting was good. The sound was amazing. But most importantly, MKHWANAZI spoke. And he spoke with such humility, with such honor. And also, he sounded like someone who could possibly become a very, very good teacher. And now we can understand why the KZN situation is going really well inside Phakathi within SAPS, because they have a great leader. And he seems to be a person who teaches really well. He takes his time, he checks for understanding, and he doesn't go over the top with his explanation. And he doesn't want to also show off or seem boastful for all his accomplishments, because accomplished he really, really is. Also, I want to say his tone, he was non-condescending the entire time. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about when we see in the court, okay? Just for a quick example, Shadrach Sibiya's lawyer. Imagine that kind of a lawyer here. It would have been a circus. And then also the lawyer from Thabo Besta's lawyer, Nandipha Makutumana's lawyer. It's all about the theatrics, but right here it looks like it's a professional business setting. Everyone is quite mellow. He's witness number one, so maybe that plays a factor. We don't know what happens once we hit phase 3. Once the accused come right in, they might arrive on a defensive mode. First of all, Mchunu, Brown Mohotsi. The list is endless. You know the list. I don't want to bore you with the details, but these are some key highlights that I want to go over. First of all, he educated us, okay? He gave us the education, SAPS 101. Who's a commission member? Who's an uncommissioned member? Who's wearing what and what it actually means. That's just communicative language, just when they're wearing their uniforms, for us to really understand what is going on. And then everybody after brigadier is just referred to as general. Don't even bother with the lieutenant general, major general, general. That's all we've got to know. But let me let you listen in. It's quite an interesting listen. If you're driving to work, let me know. Drop a one in the well, if you're driving, don't drop that one. But let me know once you get to the office. If you're at work and listening into this, drop it too, okay? And so that I know our working gang, so I know what am I recapping at the end of the day. Yeah, it will just give me a sense, because there's a lot that he broke down just yesterday alone. So today, I'm actually in this video, I'm going to share with you some key highlights, and I'm going to highlight the timeline. I think we should all know the timeline, okay? It starts April 17, 2025. Let me play the clips. I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
You put up for the benefit of some of us who are not as illiterate around the structure and the ranks of the police service. So if you could just quickly highlight what is important for us to understand from that slide, would appreciate it.
Commissioner, in the South African Police Service, we are categorized into two category of members in the service, and it is those that we refer to them as non-commissioned officers. And then we have those that refer to them as commissioned officers. For the general public to understand, commissioners also to know, is that non-commissioned officers, when you see them in uniform, they would be wearing ranks that are hanging over their shoulders, not on top of their shoulders, but hanging on the side of their shoulders. They are non-commissioned officers. And that is basically the entry level into the South African Police Service, which is a first rank of a constable. That's where you enter in the service. And as you become a commissioned officer, you then put on your ranks on your shoulders, above your shoulders, those stars that we see worn by police officers. And they are in different levels, with the highest being the National Commissioner. So the entry level is a constable, and the highest level is the National Commissioner. I'm talking about the National Commissioner as the title that is carried in the Constitution. However, the regulation that was amended, it then introduced the general's titles. And so therefore we call the National Commissioner a general. But it remains a National Commission in terms of the Constitution. So it's a Constitution versus the police regulation in this regard. They are both applicable to us, Commissioner.
And on the extreme right, you list what you say is a form of address. That's the acceptable form of addressing each rank of the police force, of the police service, as set out in that diagram.
Yeah, that's correct. What you see written on this structure, unfortunately, as I said, commissioners, they're right on top. It's actually the National Commissioner, which the rank given is the general. In the form of address, it's a general. And the picture you see on the screen, it just outlines the different ranks that we have and how we address them. So all those that we refer to as generals, lieutenant generals, major generals, and the general, when we address them, we call them generals. We don't use the first weight that precedes the general. And then, of course, the similar applies to the colonels. You will not call a lieutenant colonel or a colonel, we just address both of them as colonels. That's a form of address that we apply. And the non-commissioned officers are written on their shoulders as constable, sergeant, and warrant officers. So we address them as such.
General, please state your full names for the record.
My name is Vusi Matlala.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair.
I just really am thoroughly enjoying the professionalism. I don't know, maybe it's because we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot. If you have been watching the Senzo trial, the pure, sheer unprofessionalism that is exhibited on a day-to-day basis, the gimmicks, the games, the witnesses that just seem above board. But let's get into the timeline. Like I promised, I really want us to get into the timeline.
Is one that presumes no particular outcome. And you will notice that I've been emphasizing this principle because of the heightened interest that the public has in this process. The need for thorough investigations, the need to offer the implicated persons a fair opportunity to respond to these allegations is an integral part that protects the integrity of the process that are undertaken in this commission. And perhaps before I outline those, if I might just deal with the timeline of critical events which I had mentioned earlier, from the prism of which the investigation will be undertaken. The first material date is July 2018, and that is when the Political Killings Task Team was officially launched. And what is important to understand about that is that there was an ad hoc interdisciplinary unit within the SAPS, which was tasked with investigating political killings, with an operational focus in KwaZulu-Natal that later extended nationally. Chair and co-commissioners, you will hear evidence. Yes, after July 28, the next date of significance is June 2019, where the Political Killing Task Team adopted an integrated model where the Director of Public Prosecutions in KZN assigned a dedicated team of prosecutors to the task team, which resulted in the task team being a multidisciplinary team that incorporated prosecutorial guidance. Then the next event is the 17th of April 2024, where Mr. Aman Swart, an engineer in Vereeniging, was murdered. This high-profile assassination served as a catalyst for a wider investigation that would reveal far-reaching connections within the criminal underworld and expose insidious infiltration of law enforcement by criminal syndicates.
I think we've been traumatized by bright suits because of the Matlala, Molefe, that, it's kind of like, why are you in a batai, sir? But you know what? I'm not there. It's such a distraction, FYI. But you know what? Not important. What he does say, though, I feel is quite important. He gives us the timeline. It starts when the political killing task team was formed. 2018, 2019, no incidences, no need for press briefings. Everything is flowing smoothly until the 17th of April, 2024, when they decided to go pew-pew the engineer, Arman Swat, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the biggest mistake the syndicate ever did, because then the stitches started to unravel. The stitches started to unravel. They caught the eyes of the political killing task team. But worst part about it is, for his family, it's a terrible, terrible loss. He was taken out like with over 23 bullets, but this is literally the catalyst that started this mess, as Julius Malema labeled it. But if we look on the other side of the spectrum, his life was not lost in vain. Are we okay saying that? I don't know. But I feel like his life wasn't lost in vain, because now it has opened up and exposed, and they're now able to even capture more people in this deep, deep, dark rot in this criminal syndicate. And now it's being exposed, and now there's a Madlanga commission. So imagine, prior to Madlanga commission, he had just been mourned as someone who was mistakenly taken out as a whistleblower. But let's continue listening on, because you already know there is more.
3 suspects were arrested at Q, in Bramley on the same day, including one Mr. Michael Puletau, the sub-detective branch, Johannesburg Central. And it is alleged that it is those 3 suspects that murdered Mr. Swartz. The suspects were found in possession of firearms, which was linked to the murder. Then the next date of significance is the 30th of June 2024, when Mr. Senzo Mchunu was appointed as the Minister of Police, with effect from the 3rd of July 2024. Then we move to the 6th of August 2024, where a request was received for urgent safeguarding of the investigating officers of Swartz murder following Detective Tau's release on bail. Then, chair and members of the Commission, the next relevant date is the 10th of August 2024, where one Katiso Molefe was identified as a person of interest in Swartz murder. Then 30 August 2024, there was a request for the task team members to assist Gauteng Organized Crime Unit with the investigation. The 10th of October 2024, 10 task team members arrived in Johannesburg to assist in terms of the request that I alluded to earlier. The 6th of December 2024 is the next material date, and on which the investigation team, assisted by the task team, conducted 2 operations for different reasons. The first being the takedown and arrest of Mr. Katiso Molefe and the execution of a search and seizure warrant at the property of Mr. Vusi Matlala.
Remember, I told you this timeline was an essential service, and we have to study it. It has to be studied at Stellenbosch, okay? And we all have to get our LB. But I paused here because on the 6th of December, very, very significant date. Mark it on your calendars, okay? It will be in the exam. So on the 6th of September, the investigating team, assisted by the political killing task team that came from KZN, the tiny little corner, they conducted the 2 operations, which is the arrest of KT Molefe, okay, the big guy inside Phakathi within Kgosi Mampuru at his mansion with over 30 million rands. And while that was going on, Malcolm X suddenly found himself calling a top police official Enter the phrase deep rot in the police system. Who is Malcolm X? Just a businessman. Why is he calling a policeman with regards to an arrest of KT Molefe? He doesn't know KT Molefe when he did his podcast tours. That's what we found out. He doesn't know him, but he was highly inclined to call Godfrey Libya, General Libya, to figure out, retired now, General Libya, to figure out what is going on. Nobody's supposed to touch us. We are the untouchables. And then General then dispatches, police, another team. The team arrives there and says, no go area. We can't do anything for you. You're on your own on this one. He's got to go in. He's got to take in the cufflinks, aka handcuffs, and he's got to go in because this is legit. Okay, it's those political killing task team done from where? The KZN, the tiny little corner. But play with us. Play with us. We'll take care of business. And then guess what happens? At the very same time, I think that this was brilliant. I think it was brilliant that they did it at the same time or the same day. They went there to search and seize over there by Ket Matlala. And Ket Matlala, if you've been following his case, if you haven't, I have too many videos for you, okay? This is where we hear when they were reading why he shouldn't be granted bail. That man was in hiding, okay? He even had the audacity to send his lawyer a WhatsApp message to say, can I come out of hiding now? I want to go home. This was the cause. This is the background story. Listen, Nhlanhla MKHWANAZI, General MKHWANAZI, definitely is here to fill in the gaps that we don't even know. We didn't even know we needed to know all this information. But let's get back into the timeline.
And part of what will be dealt with in the evidence is alleged political interference, which was noted by JMPD and DPCI during the said operations. And again, I must emphasize, these are allegations. 30 December 2024 is the next event. The task team's ballistic analyst compiled a ballistic report that linked weapons seized during the Swart murder investigation to 4 high-profile murders, including the murder of DJ Somebody, DJ Vintos, and the attempted murder of Tebogo Thobejane. Then, on the following day, the 31st of December 2024, Minister Mchunu issued a directive that the task team be disbanded with immediate effect. 27 January 2025 is the next date of relevance on which Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI appeared on EWN, where he made, for the first time, allegations of political interference and criminal infiltration in SAPS and in the criminal justice system. And on the 5th of March 2025, the General appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on the Police, where he repeated allegations of political interference and criminal infiltration in SAPS and the criminal justice system. Then on 26 March 2025, 118 under investigation dockets, which were being investigated by the task team, were handed over to Lieutenant General Senzo on the instructions of Lieutenant General Sibiya. The 2nd of April 2025 is the next material date, being the date on which Katiso Molefe's bail application was refused. Then we move to the 10th of April 2025, and on that day, 3 additional dockets, which were still under investigation by the task team, were handed over to SAPS head office on the instructions of Lieutenant General Sibiya. And chair and members of the commission, you'll recall earlier on I spoke about the 118, and if you add these 3, that's how we get to the 121 dockets. Then on 13 and 14 May, we outlined 2 material events. On the 13th, Medicare 24 Tshwane District PTY's contract with SAPS was cancelled. And chair and members of the commission, this is the tender or the contract that had been awarded to Mr. Ket Matlala. 14 May, Mr. Ket Matlala was arrested. His cell phone records were obtained, or rather, if I may just correct that, cell phone records which were obtained from Mr. Matlala's phone, which was seized on 14 May 2025, pointed to political interference by the cartel in SAPS operations and the criminal investigations at different levels. So the material in the form of the contents that were found in Mr. Matlala's cell phone when it was seized following his arrest on the 14th is a critical event in answering the part of the questions that are posed in this commission.
It's really bad. It's really bad. Take a look at this graph. Why did Cat think he was going to be granted bail? The irony that the Madlanga Commission started the same day he finds out there is no bail for the cat in the hat. No bail. Back to Vusi Matlala. Go back to Katiso Molefe. Let him know, bro. It's bad out there. It's bad. It's raining cats and dogs, but we are not there. I can't wait till he introduces Beggy Tsele, Brown Mohotsi, but let's keep going.
Then the 26th of June 2025, Lieutenant General Khumalo, the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, and who's also the project leader of the task team, together with others, were arrested by IDEC for alleged fraud and corruption relating to an alleged unlawful senior appointment. Then the next material event is the 27th of June 2025, where Katiso Molefe's bail appeal was upheld and he was released on bail. The 2nd of July 2025 is the next event. And on that day, Lieutenant General Khumalo's bail conditions, which included a condition that he is not to enter any intelligence offices in the country, effectively precluded him as the head of intelligence from returning to work. Then 6th July is the reason why we are here. It is the media briefing by Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI. The 13th of July 2025, Minister Mchunu was placed on leave. The 15th of July 2025, Lieutenant General Sibiya was given orders to stay at home. And the 23rd of July 2025 was the establishment of the commission. So, Chair and members of the commission, these events, as I indicated, are quite material in serving as signposts and the context within which the evidence needs to be located and tested for purposes of veracity, credibility, etc. I earlier on indicated that the commission is going to be undertaken in 3 phases. If I can briefly highlight the first phase.
I know that's a lot to take in, but that's how much crime is going on, okay? That's how much Mgologoto business is happening right under the SAP's nose, right under politicians' nose, right under everybody, okay? And Mchunu is on special leave. Sibiya put on special leave. MKHWANAZI is like, I've had it, okay? I'm done with this. I've said it. First of all, at ENW, nobody paid attention, okay? I guess people don't really watch YouTube like that, okay? People don't really watch ENW like that. Okay, no problem. I'll head on over there to Ian Cameron and friends. And I'll say it again. Again, he's not taken quite seriously for some strange reason. And then 6th of July, he puts on the uniform. Then everybody says, what is going on? Is this a coup? Where are we going with this? Of course, we know. Paul O'Sullivan loses his SHIT. Yes, he really did. But then, you know what? That's going to cost him 5 million rands if MKHWANAZI wins that defamation case. But we are not there. If you've made it this far in the video, you absolutely have my heart. Thanks for the patience. Thanks for the support. Hit that like button before you exit. Let me know your thoughts. Which parts came as a surprise to you? I think it was well written, put in very good chronological order, makes everybody understand how everybody is inside Pagati within and what part specifically they played. And so far, we have a couple of them already behind bars. A couple of them have bail conditions and they are on bail. But it is what it is. The commission continues. I'll catch you on my next upload. Bye.